Hey everybody, Tyree here with Before I Forget, along with the greatest co-host in the history of co-hosts, the greatest one to ever exist,
Okay.
Mr. Kevin motherfucking Johnson. Let's hear it for Kevin Johnson, folks.
Hey, God damn.
Hey
Yeah,
man,
fucking brown nose right now.
really? That's I put so much into that, so
Yeah,
much
no,
thought.
it was good. I appreciate it. It's definitely a little too much.
That's
I think.
just enough, just the right amount of,
Yeah.
just a little bit. Hey, so if I look a little down in this video, folks, people who are watching, today my 49ers were demolished by the Eagles. I'm not going to make excuses. We're a great team, but you can't play without a quarterback. So we're on our fourth string quarterback, and he got a concussion. We were about to run with McCaffrey as our quarterback. That's why Purdy came back in and he couldn't even throw it because his elbow's screwed. And they think he might need Tommy John surgery, folks. So if you know what that is, you know he might be out for a year. That's 12 months recovery. It's a major baseball, it's a pitcher's injury. You basically tear all the shit in your elbow. Sucks out loud.
Yeah. Hey,
Um,
so I got two things though.
what up?
One, I still hear Rage Against the Machine.
Oh
And
wow.
yeah. And two, and probably it's more relevant to your story. Can't play without a quarterback. I'm gonna play devil's advocate though.
Mm.
What happened to the defense?
The defense fell apart.
Yeah. Is it
They
because they
they
didn't have a
they
quarterback?
no. They did I think everything they could up until the second half, and then it just fucking the screws fucking broke. I don't know, and that's fine. I love the team, but I'm not that like I didn't lose any money. I'm not getting any money from them winning or anything like that. So I'm all right. I can
Yeah.
smile. Hmm.
Oh, P Diddy sending messages. I can hear it on your end.
Yeah, you see it too.
Yeah.
I
Well,
don't know.
I don't see it. I just hear it.
Okay, well,
Hmm.
somehow he snuck onto the show.
He's talking about
So
the Bengals right now.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, okay, whatever.
are they dang tied at 20 right now? Who would have thought?
Apparently these people who are interrupting my show, and I don't know how to turn off all notes. There we go. There we go.
Yeah. Hey, we're gonna have to figure out these technical difficulties because we have some pretty important shit coming up soon.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we
And
do.
we have technical difficulties that I'm trying to iron out. But yeah, man, the people coming are huge. You know,
Um, like huge in a lot of ways. Um, like I'm gonna talk about three of them right now, but like huge in their own ways. We have I believe next weekend or next week. What day will this show come out? This will come out
this show is going
on
to
the
come out.
30th.
Yes.
So where's my calendar? Let me just look at the calendar like a normal person. Oh gosh. So February 6th, we'll have a show that'll release with a guy named Leland Holgate. He is an Air Force veteran, cancer survivor, and fought off addiction and various other things throughout his personal life. And he is the founder of the Willful Warrior. It's hard for me to say that Willful Warrior. We've got really cool stories, and we're definitely glad and excited to bring him on. Um, Actually, before we even really get into all that stuff, we got to give a shout out to those dudes that we recorded with. I love you, man, because it wasn't if it wasn't for them pointing out this app, Matchmaker.fm, we wouldn't have been able to come across some of these guys that we're gonna have as future guests. It's kind of made the hunt for guests like so much easier.
That's true. Normally we would have issues trying to find guests sometimes, but I mean, within a week, Kevin with this app, he's been able to hook up all kind of guests. So
Yeah,
man,
so
that's co-host in the history of co-hosts.
well, yeah. So that so we have him next week, and then should be February 13th. We'll have William Branham. He is the CEO, founder and CEO of the Naked Warrior. Former Navy SEAL, 26 years of service. Um, and he's got a pretty cool story too. And he has what some might consider more of a hippie approach to healing. But like, if the shit works, don't knock it, right? So it's a lot of like breath control, like and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Which I've read a little bit about it previously, like before, and there is some uh decent evidence to support it, and a lot of people that believe in it and follow it. It's ancient shit, and it goes way back. So we're definitely excited to have him on.
Mhm.
Um, we have a couple more that we've got linked up through that app. Some more that we're working on and just trying to get people scheduled. Um, it's almost as if we're turning into like a real program.
Right?
You know what I'm saying? Like,
It's a real program. What are you talking about? We're fucking
well,
together.
I mean, I say this as I look at the notes that I have in front of me. We have an app that we and now schedule people through.
Yeah.
Um, so it's as if we're like I was thinking about it the other day when I was sitting there like writing up all these like messages to people. I'm like, hey, you interested in coming on our show? Blah blah blah. Here's what we're about.
Mhm.
Here's our link to schedule. When you can come on. And I'm sitting thinking like, this is like should you can put on a resume, man. Like I don't know, man. I ought to get in Hollywood.
Right? The thing is, all this stuff is totally a resume. This is like our a film reel for us, all of it. The
Hmm.
everything that we do. We have over almost 100 different pieces of material for our show. Any person who ever wanted to see how we were or how we act or or how we sound, all they have to do is just listen to it. So
Hmm.
kind of on the slide, that was one of my goals for this thing, is to have just stuff there so people can listen to it and hear it. And,
Yeah.
it could be a foot in the door for some things. And that's a great segue.
Yeah, it's a great segue to this other guest that we have coming up pretty soon.
Yeah.
We haven't scheduled when we're going to record with him, but it's going to happen. And he might very well be the biggest, most well known guest we're going to have on the show. And pretty excited about it.
Yeah. At least until we're super, super, super famous.
Yeah, I guess. To we're like competing with Joe Rogan for contracts on Spotify.
Right.
But if you are fans of the TV show Mayans, if you have followed, Matt Best over the last, I don't know, 10 years, the Article 15 brand, the YouTube videos, the movie Range 15, if you've been to the website veteran.com, you probably know this guy. Vincent Rocco Vargas is going to be on the
Yeah.
show.
Yeah. He's
Yeah.
also, for you, those of you who don't know, he's a veteran, former drill sergeant, correct?
He was a drill sergeant in the reserves, yeah, just like
Yeah,
me.
there you
Mhm.
go. What was the connection between you two?
That's it. Yeah. So he was active duty Army. He was infantry in the Ranger Regiment. I believe he was 75th Ranger.
Mm,
Um, and then made his way into the reserve somehow. And he and I ended up going to drill sergeant school together back in 2008.
yeah, and
So
look how it worked out.
I know. Well, and what's cool about him is like he has definitely put in the work to get to where he is,
Hmm.
and he is still to this day like putting in extra work to help out veterans. Like he doesn't
Correct.
have to. Like he's made it in his life. You know what I'm saying? But like he still genuinely gives a shit about the organization and the people within that organization. Um, that like that more. I mean, I don't want to say got him to where he is because I feel like he probably would have been a pretty successful person without being in the army.
Mm.
So, but yeah, like he's definitely like giving back, like in a way that like you know some people like to give with the understanding that they're also going to receive.
Mm.
um that's not how he works. Like he is willing to give, and then the only thing that he gets back is the satisfaction knowing that he's helped other veterans.
And the way he's going to help other veterans with us is very cool. I can talk about this too. So, attention all veterans. Attention veterans who would like to become actors or work in the entertainment industry in any capacity. Uh, he, Mr. Vargas, is gung ho with getting as many veterans signed to uh, contracts so they can get into the business and get headshots, go and get reels done and get out there because veterans, as you well know, because you are probably a veteran listening to the show, we know how to do stuff. We don't need a lot of guidance. We can show up on to set on time. You know, we don't give anybody any problems. We handle it in and out. I like that. That's cool. Okay, you never know. You can make a ton of money doing this, or you can make some pretty good memories because you're gonna see and do some pretty wild stuff. But we have to start off with you signing. So if you are interested, go to infinityartistagency.com and you can sign up.
So you talk
And
about,
wait. Well, you can sign up and then we'll work with you from there.
yeah, it's still like it's not like you sign up and then bam, you get gigs, right? Like you sign up and then there's a whole process and everything else. And so you've told me before, your agency specifically works out of what, Los Angeles, Atlanta, and New York, or is New York not on the table yet?
Atlanta's not there yet, but New York and LA
Oh,
definitely.
okay. Yeah, okay. I knew it was one of them.
I mean, but we still see listings for things in Atlanta, so we can still send them. If you live close to Atlanta, if you can make it to, your audition or whatever, hit me up. Let me know. You know,
But
again, for
definitely a pretty cool opportunity, right? Because
very cool. Yeah.
I mean, so you've been on that side of it,
Yes.
kind of, right? You've been in a couple of things. For those of y'all that don't know and who've been watching the show for a long time, Tyree is kind of like a mini celebrity.
No.
He's been on TV more than I have. I've been on the news in a good way.
I think I've been on the news too.
Yeah,
Also in a good way. Or no, in a bad way because I was, no. It was a good way,
yeah. I mean, but you've been on a TV. You've been on TV in a way that like you could have an IMDb.
possibly, but not really. Uh
I'm gonna make one
yeah,
for you.
the commercial with the army that aired during the Super Bowl, which is crazy to hear
Yeah,
your own voice on TV during the Super Bowl. Let me tell you, it's a good experience though. I mean, man, they brought all these cameras and shit to the house. I had a trailer. I had a guy go get me some donuts. I don't know why, just because I could. And it was crazy. We're sitting at a table, all these lights are set up, from one angle it looks like you're in a studio, the other angle looks like you're just sitting in a living room because it's just my aunt's living room that we shot all the shit in. It's just very it's a cool experience. The movie I think was a good experience also because it made me change my mind about wanting to do some of the stuff. And I'll be honest with you guys, like if you are on the set or if you're on a movie or something like that doing background work and it's something that lasts for a few weeks, sometimes it could be a little funky. You if you don't have a car to get from point A to point B, if you're shooting remote, you might be stuck there. And if you're not really ready to be around people who you may not necessarily know at all for the next 3 4 weeks, think about it. But 3 4 weeks, 12 grand easy. And you're gonna be in a movie and you're gonna experience the life. Yay.
what movie was that though? You didn't say.
Tenant.
Tenet.
Yes.
Probably one of the most
And
confusing movies I've ever watched.
wasn't it?
Yeah.
I don't fucking know what was going on. But anyway, the majority of the background actors in that movie were veterans. So they were actually hired because they were veterans. There you
You,
go.
you think that had anything to do with the like where they were recording? Because like from what I understand, the battle scene, the big battle scene at the end,
Mm.
seemed like it was probably in a remote spot, and I feel like veterans might Well, obviously, like it's military related, like how to like maneuver and hold guns and look proper, wearing gear and all that stuff.
Hmm.
So obviously, that's duh, let's hire veterans for that. And then two, like you're talking about, like you might be in this like remote spot for a bit around people you don't know and austere environment, so to speak. So like who better to handle that than
Oh yeah.
fucking people in the military?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. The funny part about that whole scene is that it's shot in Palm Springs.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's no, not exactly Palm Springs. I want to say maybe just south, because every morning we had to wake up at 3:30 to get to set by 6 to start running around in circles and running backwards. Because for the majority of that movie, if you see us running, we're actually running in reverse, and they're playing it
Forward.
for yeah. And then a lot of the male body capture, because you can't see the face, is actually me. So that's cool. My body, my movement, which is another crazy thing to be a part of. Is you stand on this machine and all these cameras just start surrounding you and taking all these pictures, and then out comes this digital image of you, and they just manipulate it however they want, and there you go, you're everywhere.
Yeah.
There's a scene where I am carrying myself after I got shot by me.
It's like I said, it's a confusing ass movie, man.
Yes.
Like I get the gist of it, I think, but like to be the mind that came up with that created that, I'm like where like when you think about
Christopher,
like when you
he's
think
a
about time travel and then like stepping on, it's more or less like stepping on the other side of the mirror
mm,
where everything happens in reverse.
right.
So like what is about to happen has already happened there, and at some point both sides will meet at somehow. I don't know. It's fucking weird.
Yeah. I
It's a
mean,
good movie though. It was a good movie.
yeah, if you really sit down and think about it, it makes sense. But sometimes it's just a lot. But that's a Christopher Nolan movie for you. Um, a lot of his movies are kind of like that. This one more so than like Inception or uh, Dunkirk.
Mm.
Those are really great movies. So check those out if you get a chance. He has another one coming out. It's about the Manhattan Project.
Really?
He's doing practical effects for a nuclear explosion. How could that be practical? I don't know. He figured it out. I've seen some the trailer. It's intense. It's real shit.
Yeah, so the Montauk experience, that shit is insane. Like that is uh I'm gonna look up some stuff on it real quick because that whole thing, for those that don't know, is like wild. It's just fucking wild. I can't really even like, oh my god, I can't even really go into it. Uh and for whatever reason, my Google is not wanting to work.
Oh, what are you looking at now?
The Montauk experience, experiment.
What is that?
What'd you just say? What movie is he doing? Oh,
Uh,
Montauk Project.
no, I said Manhattan Project.
Okay. I heard man. Yeah, yeah. I heard Manhattan. I heard Montauk. You've never heard of the Montauk Project?
No, enlighten me.
Oh, well. So it's the Manhattan. So okay. First of all, like for those that don't know, the Manhattan Project was basically the invention, right? The endeavor to create nuclear power. That's all that was, and that's where they came up with the first atomic bomb that eventually created Fat Man and Little Boy, the two bombs that were dropped on Nagasaki and Hiroshima in Japan to end World War II in the Pacific. Um, oh my God, fucking famous genius guy. Um, I just drew a fucking huge blank. Um, Einstein. Einstein was a part of it. I don't know why. I'm over here thinking like Einhauser, some fucking
Famous genius guy.
famous genius guy, white hair,
What?
nose,
Goddamn
came from
mustache
Germany.
equals MC. What? Eisenhower. It's
Dwight D. Eisenhower. That's who it was. Yeah, Einstein. What was his first name? Bill, Robert, Tom, Jim, Dave
Sam.
Eisenhower.
It's
Huh?
Sam. Sam.
Sam Eisenhower.
Yeah.
Eisenhower.
Oh, Sam.
Good old Albert Einstein. All right, we got Albert Einstein. So Manhattan Project. That's a pretty cool story. Yeah. So it's actually really really neat because um, and the timing of it is really neat because what happened. So in 2022, this is just kind of it just was thought of this, but like last year, so they've been working on um trying to find a way to recreate nuclear fusion on Earth. So nuclear fusion is what makes the sun work, right? And it's being able to, my very basic understanding of it is being able to input a little bit of energy and output a fuck ton of energy. And
Yes.
it's a reusable, clean energy source. And for the first time ever, last year, November, December timeframe, scientists at, I want to say UCLA, but I could be wrong, were able to actually do that. They successfully created or performed or whatever a contained nuclear fusion, which is huge, which is big. So like when you talk about like the practical uses of it in the future, say over the next like 20, 30, 40, 50 years, I mean, again, clean energy, you talk about like space travel and like how that's going to change, like using, because right now we send rockets and shit into space with fuel, ignition and lift off and all sorts of stuff. We may not have to do that anymore. So we're now we can look into spaceships or space travel that has basically limited or I'm sorry, unlimited travel. I don't know. It's crazy stuff. I mean, there's just a ton of like applications for it that can like really like benefit mankind. So it'll be neat to see where that goes if we live that long.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, so it's really neat that he's going to come out with that movie, The Manhattan Project, around the time when this was created. That's where my mind went. Anyway, but no, the Montauk Project. You never heard of the Montauk Project?
No,
Really?
no. I mean, maybe
Um,
I have, but I don't. I'm drawing a blank.
so it's a conspiracy theory that alleges that there was a series of United States government projects conducted at Camp Hero or Montauk Air Force Station in Montauk, New York, for the purpose of developing psychological warfare techniques and exotic research, including time travel.
What? We know
Yeah.
we know how to travel time now. They were working on it.
Hey, we've
Yeah,
been doing it this whole time just by existing,
yeah. They were taking a crack at it though.
like a legitimate crack at it. So a part of Montauk and what later kind of became MK Ultra. So if you've ever seen the movie The Men That Stare at Goats with George Clooney,
No, but I heard of it.
yeah, that's part of it, right? So it's a that goes into like the psyops, psychological operations, where these guys are like trying to like use their minds to read other minds or to move things like telekinesis and telekinetic powers.
Mm.
So it's a really neat thing. But these are like actual experiments that the U.S. government explored for a period in the 1950s. Um, the government even experimented with LSD for a way to create super soldiers that were emotionally detached from the outside world. Right. So you could go into a situation and you could do things and you have no emotional connection to it because you're not present.
So
Um,
it's sociopath medicine in a jar.
I mean that was the intent, but they found that like there's actually and there was a ton of studies. Actually, there's a documentary on Netflix right now. I forget what it's called, but there's where they talk about it. But like, there's actually apparently a ton of like benefits of LSD.
Yeah,
So,
I know the good benefits. I'm just saying, like back in the day, I don't, was that the initial intent? No, it was to make zombies.
well, yeah, that and what was it, methamphetamine,
Yeah,
and just
oh,
various other drugs. You know what I mean?
they just
Um,
sprinkle on these fools like doing this
yeah,
shit. Take this,
um,
sprinkle, sprinkle.
yeah, but it's right up there with the Tuskegee experiments, and just various other. Just I'm telling you, man, from like the 30s on, 30s and 40s in Nazi occupied Germany and Europe,
Mhm.
And then later on, 50s, 60s, and 70s, 80s, 90s, probably the last 23 years, in the 2000s, there's
Mm.
been quite a few of other different types of experiments.
Hell yeah.
I'm just interested to see what's going to come out later on about like our time and service, you know what I mean? And like what they experimented on.
The only thing that I can think of that they would actually would have been an experiment is those damn pills. The what were those?
Malaria pills.
Mhm. What if they weren't though? What if they were like something else?
Yeah. No, I mean, true. Yeah. I mean, you think about it, like, what if they were? So, those that don't know, like, when we were in Iraq in '04, we had malaria Mondays. Every Monday, we had to take a pill. Like, a squad, they would come down the line, hand you the pill. You would put it in your mouth, swallow it, drink water, open your mouth, verify that it was gone, confirm
Mm-hmm.
that it was gone. And
For your
apparently, this pill was like non FDA approved, but it was to combat malaria while we were there.
yeah.
Never got malaria, so if that's what it was, I guess it worked. Or
I
maybe
have
we
this third testicle though.
yeah, right. No, there were some interesting side effects to it. One of them was degrading eyesight, and when we got back from Iraq, when I started to clear, I got my eyes checked,
Mm-hmm.
and I actually did need glasses. My eyesight had degraded. What's really interesting though is I do not need glasses now. I have better than perfect vision.
Wow. Did
It's
it
really
bounce back and just go fucking Superman vision on him?
well, no, I mean I can't see through clothes, unfortunately, but or walls, I guess, is an important thing too.
Are you sure?
I mean, if I can, I haven't unlocked it.
Okay. You need to tap into the potential.
Yeah, and see that's what the Men Who Stare at Ghosts is about.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's true that you got to wonder like, what if that malaria pill gave us superpowers that we just haven't unlocked?
Hmm. What would your superpower? What would you want your superpower to be?
I was just gonna ask you the same thing. I'd have no idea, no fucking clue.
I would want to be like as fast as the Flash
Why?
because there's a bunch of different things the Flash can do. He can go time travel. Um, he can jump through different dimensions
Mhm.
by via the Speed Force. Um, he can punch with an incredible amount of force, extremely fast.
He can phase through things
Yep.
when he vibrates, whatever. If you've watched the TV show,
Mhm. Perfect. He's to me, and I'm a big fan of Batman. No powers, but he's more powerful than Superman if you really think about it.
I mean, Superman can fly
And
fast enough to spin the Earth backwards.
yeah, but come on,
I call bullshit on it, honestly,
we would
because
have all
the whole point in doing that was to turn back time, and that's not what would happen. Actually, if you stopped the rotation of the Earth and made it go the other direction, like things would wreak havoc all over this planet. It's a terrible idea. Don't do that, Superman. Don't kill us that way.
yeah.
Yeah, that would have been that would have been the end of that would have been an extinction level event for sure. I think.
Hmm. But
Um,
instead, you can be the Flash going back in time to that test. You can be like nudging your boy, like, "Hey, the answer's B. You had the answer right the first time, but you changed it. Just leave it alone, and then just phase out."
I mean, you can also use it to get super rich. I'm saying go back to the '90s, buy stocks in Apple,
Well, you wouldn't have to buy stock. You can just
steal it.
no, you can just play a sport. You can do track and field, but just run slow, but it'll still be faster than everyone else, and you get rich. Nice,
Eh, that's
but is
that's
that's sleazy, isn't it?
yeah,
What
that's pretty unethical. I think.
cares?
Okay, who cares? I'm fast as fuck.
Yeah.
I can run away from my problems.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Or I could just go back in time and change it.
yeah. Well, and so the way they talk about time travel in that regard is that we are on this linear path, and anytime you go back to a point, you start a new path. And anytime you go back to a point, you start a new path. And so the original timeline where you are an unethical track and field star still
Hmm.
exists. You're just an asshole in it.
Yeah.
So in
Yeah.
that, and when you talk about like how he can like um jump interdimensionally, right? Or he can jump from dimension to dimension, whatever, right? Parallel
Mhm.
Earth to parallel Earth. Um, that version of you already exists, but every time you make that jump back, you create a new one.
Yeah.
That's all that works. No, the Flash is cool. I do like the Flash a lot. I'm really looking forward to the Flashpoint movie, even though fucking Ezra Dumbfuck is a fucking cocksucker apparently. But
Wow. I'm not a big fan of his. Yeah, I see that he's super violent. I thought that he was going to get dumped, but they instead dumped Superman. But whatever.
boo. I do like the guy from the TV show, but I don't know that he would have been like big screen good. I mean, maybe if he had a different suit.
Yeah, the suit looked kind of funky. I wasn't a big fan of the suit on the TV show.
He had too much crotch space.
Crotch space. He had a gap.
No, it wasn't a gap. It's just like when you watch the superhero movies, like the suits fit.
Yeah.
This guy looked like he was kind of like wearing his Big Brother suit.
Oh,
You know what I
like
mean?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I get that.
Like whoever the clothing designer was for that probably needs to, I don't know, redo his measurements or something.
I think they made a big deal about making giving him gold boots in the last season of that show. Or
I
did I
don't
let out something that I shouldn't have let out?
I don't know. I'm not caught up. I don't think because I don't remember where I left off, and I can't remember what I had watched last. So instead of just trying to figure it out, I just gave up.
Yeah, same. I watched a few seasons and I'm like, all right, this is good for me. Thank you.
Yeah, no, it is that TV show has. I like the Flash, but I think that show has kind of gone on a little too long.
Yeah. Yeah. This is the last season. Like I said, this is it. This is it, baby. No more.
Dunskies.
Yeah.
I think if I had a superpower, I would want like regeneration,
Like a
like
lizard.
Wolverine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I
So
hurt a lot. I get hurt a lot. And I'd like to be able to like not hurt. Like my back hurts right now.
mhm. So
Sitting.
you could potentially live an extremely long time.
Oh
You
yeah,
bet.
I would
Uh,
love to live forever. Yeah,
really?
yeah. I think if I could be a vampire, I would.
I would not.
No, I definitely would.
No. Why though? Give me a reason.
History, man. I want to see where humankind, because like so right now we have a pretty decent understanding of say the last 5,000 years, right? Going all the way back to recorded history. When recorded history starts, we have an okay understanding of different cultures or peoples in pre-recorded history. Um, I want to know where we're going to be in 5,000 years. I mean, you think about like the technological advances of the last couple of the last 100 years,
Hmm.
over the last 10 years, and where are we going to be? I mean, you think 5,000 years at the rate of advancement that we have? I want to see what we're going to be.
It'd be cool to see, but like every attachment you would have with anyone would die.
Yeah, that's fine.
And then the planet, I mean, you'd be the last person ever. If the planet ever exploded, you'd still be stuck because you can't die, right?
I mean, I think it's, I don't know.
Yeah. Got to think about it. If you're immortal and the planet explodes because you're the last person ever and your powers that regenerate body parts whenever they get injured or ever get hurt basically,
Yeah, right.
that's fucking terrible.
Sure, right. But when you consider like the aspirations of mankind to leave this planet to go terraform some other distant globe in the solar system, not solar
Mm.
system, but the galaxy or wherever, right? Like, who knows if we'll even be on this one in 5,000 years?
Oh no, I think we'll be on some other place.
Yeah.
We would have figured out how to travel to different galaxies and started populating them shits.
Doing what we do best, colonizing everywhere and saying it's ours.
Yeah, because it is.
We saw it first.
No,
We've been here this whole time. Yeah. But
yeah,
we saw it first.
and it's been sitting there forever, and no one fucking claimed it. No one said dibs, so it's ours now.
I think back to when because I was there, right? I think back to when early Europeans came over to the North American continent
Mm.
and stepped foot on land and was like, this looks a whole lot like where we're from, but there's no people here. And then out of like the trees come these half, naked Native Americans. And they're like, they don't look like I do, so they don't count. So I'm going to take my stick that has my flag on it and put it in the ground and say it's mine. And these natives are like, but we've been here for roughly 12,000 to 20,000 years.
My house is right over there.
I have a mailing address and everything. Like we have a language,
Yeah.
we have our own religions.
Been here,
Um,
chilling.
and
Here's,
we've
here's
been
the door.
cultivating the land.
Yeah, all that.
And these Europeans are like, yeah, but like
It's mine now.
you're not us, so it's ours.
Could you imagine like living back in that time? Like it's fucking crazy, man. Diseases were super off the hook.
Yeah.
Uh, Motherfuckers are just fucking taking land. You know, it's crazy. It would have been cool to see, if I was invisible and I could walk around and I'd be bothered by anybody, just be around and see stuff. That'd be another cool power. But yeah, wild stuff.
Yeah, no, so um we were watching the other day. I was watching A Knight's Tale, right?
Mm.
It's one of the many stories written by Geoffrey Chaucer, who also wrote the Canterbury Tales, and really, really good stuff. They were written in the late 1300s. He passed away in 1400, and so I was having this conversation about like what would it be like to live back then, and yeah, I mean, exactly that. Like diseases are rampant. You're going into the dark ages, the beginning of medieval times, where, everybody was ignorant. The church was holding people down, like literally saying that, like, if you were not in this status or above, you don't deserve an education. You just need to do what you're told. It was a bad time, right? With the big Christianization of Europe, really just kind of like drug people down. It was a really, really awkward time in history for a couple hundred years.
But
So,
what if no, we're just fucking around with you now. Okay, so what if you can go back in time to those periods and about diseases and how to cure them because you know from the future you were able to give this technology in medicine form, but on the low. How would you think that would affect the future a few hundred years later, like now? You know, terribly is the answer. You know
yeah,
why? How many people were wiped out from the Black Plague?
um, millions. Uh, I was actually just looking up the Black Blade. I can't remember. I don't even see it on here. But yeah, so like it's pretty bad, right? It's pretty high up there. Like a lot of people.
Yeah, enough people that the total temperature of the Earth had lowered because so many people had died. So imagine if all those people had still lived and they were, now it's 2023. Things could be a lot different with all these extra people. So
Yeah. So estimated 50 million people in during the 14th century, which is a lot
it's a lot.
when you think about like the size of how far humans had spread by that point. Like, and it's a 50
That's,
million through Asia, Europe, and Africa.
that's
Pretty
got to be a
crazy.
sizable chunk of like the
Total
human
population.
population. Yeah. Gone.
Well, it says including about 25 to 60% of the total European population. So, yeah, you're talking anywhere from, I mean, globally, I would imagine anywhere from like 15 to maybe 30% of the global population. wiped out by, which wild to think, man, is like the bubonic plague, the black plague, was a bacterial infection.
Mm-hmm. All I
We
need
have,
fucking penicillin.
yeah, I mean, where I mean, it's antibiotics, right? It's like just any kind of antibiotic, amoxicillin or whatever
Mhm.
would have worked, right? You know what I mean? Like take this for a week and you'll be fine.
And you can go back in time and just do that if you wanted to. I wouldn't. I'd be vaccinated though.
I would bring my own antibiotics.
Oh yeah.
So you think about that, right? Like, okay, so let's say time travel is possible and you have the ability to do that whenever you want and only you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you go back in time and do you prevent these major tragedies or atrocities from happening? Like, do you go back in time and kill baby Hitler or teenage Hitler, right? Do you go back in time and take him out before he has an opportunity to become who he became? Or Stalin or Vlad the Impaler or fucking Slobodan Milosevic in the 90s, with the genocide of the Albanian people. I mean, do
Putin.
you, huh?
Putin.
Buddha? Oh,
Yeah.
Putin. I think it's Buddha.
Oh jeez.
Do you go back in time and take out Buddha,
And hang out with Buddha or whatever.
learn some things?
Mm-hmm.
And you got to think like we don't know, obviously, where things would have gone um, on Earth if those things didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
Like, well, the lessons that were learned from those events. I don't know. It's wild. It's a wild thought for sure. But like on the one hand, yeah, you want to go back. You want to prevent bad from happening.
Mm-hmm.
But
I don't think nuclear weapons would have existed if
mm,
somehow Hitler had got tetanus as a child and didn't pull
yeah, and somehow Hitler got the
Mister.
bubonic plague.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't know. I think there's a lot to that.
No, it could have
I'm
been
actually,
World War II.
well, no, I'm a big fan of the idea that the big technological boom in the last say 130 years.
Mm-hmm.
I love the idea of it being because of aliens.
So you're saying you are telling me
Uh-huh.
that Alf came down with the technology, slid it in our back pocket, and said, "Hey, check this out," in our own little language, everyone understands. And then they just dipped out and then just said, prosper and just skated. And
Yeah,
then they're like, we're going to come back in a few thousand years. We'll check in every now and then.
I
That's
like
great.
the idea of it. And I think one of the biggest indicators that it could be true is cell phones. We went from having the fucking Nokia brick, the most indestructible thing on the planet, to these like archaic flip phones that you still had to use T9 texting where you had to hit fucking two, three times to get to C, right?
Mm,
Um, to smartphones,
I had a
touch
thought about this.
touchscreen smartphones connected to the internet 24/7.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's kind of wild. It's kind of wild, just the technological growth over the last 20, 30 years.
What if it's all right? Think about this. Instead of thinking about the last few years with cell phones, think about the technology of communication in general.
Right.
That's huge. We used to, you know, string and how do we communicate? What was the most cutting edge shit of
Um,
communication back in like the Civil War? Was the fucking telegraph, right?
we had telegraph. Telegraph was a thing. Pigeons
Yeah,
were a thing. On foot, people carrying notes on foot or horseback.
that was the cutting edge of technology.
Yeah.
They were like, this is the shit right now. We couldn't do this a couple years ago. Now look at us. We have
Yeah.
everything we ever need, or don't need in our pocket at any
Yeah.
given time.
Last night I was sitting there talking about on this day in 1879.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. One of the things that happened in 1879 was some guy, I don't remember his name, ran the cables from Europe to Africa, Europe or the UK to Africa to expand telecommunications into Africa. 1879. Pretty crazy.
Exactly. That's what I'm
You,
saying.
you ever wonder how the internet travels across the ocean?
Uh, I was gonna say witches, but how?
Cables, underwater cables,
Yeah, the
cables that
big, yeah.
big cables that are along the seafloor. Isn't
Mm-hmm.
that wild?
You know what is more wild?
Aliens.
Stuff that we don't know about. This stuff in development. You know what I mean? Like there's always some okay, we think this is the cutting edge of everything, but
Yeah.
there's somebody working on something even better or more advanced. Always. Like you're constantly on the cutting edge of any technology as long as you're living, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're living in very cool times right now. We all are.
you
In some
know,
times really.
what was it like, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, if you bought a computer, it was already obsolete because they
Mm-hmm.
already had, advancements within like the microprocessors or the drivers or whatever else.
Mm-hmm. We
That
had
was
a Hewlett Packard computer PC. It was
yeah.
a piece of shit. Now I'm thinking about it, it was fucking trash. But that was the shit back then. Hell yeah. Talk to all kind of girls using it.
I went on fucking AOL,
Hell yeah.
AIM or
The
whatever it
chat
was,
rooms. Yeah, ASL.
and that's sign language,
Mm-hmm.
American Sign Language.
Yeah. No, no, man. No, age, sex, location. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
That
ASL
was,
question mark.
yeah, question mark. It's the only that's how you started those interactions with people way back then. If you're young and listening to the show, it was crazy. Like
Yeah,
we would text people via entire computer.
yeah. No, you had your time on the computer, and then if you were up late, you can go into the computer room, and log on to the internet, and get into these chat rooms. And I remember doing this when I was like 15, 16 years old. And you'd get random messages from people in these chat rooms, and they would say, yeah, like you said, ASL. As soon as
Mm-hmm.
you mentioned you were like, 15 years old or something, man, they chat you up. Or like you're in the chat room and people would put ASL in the chat room and you would put like, um, 15 male Arkansas, and then you would just get all these DMs, direct messages,
Mm-hmm.
and pretending to be, I say pretending because the chances that these were fucking pedophiles, fucking looking for little kid dick pics or whatever the shit,
Way up there.
super high. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Dangerous times, or the early days of commercial internet.
And you were leaping right into it. Just
Yeah.
fucking ASL.
Yeah. My mom and stepdad were truckers back in the day through the 80s and 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And because they were truckers, they had a CB radio um on their car. They had a Dodge Dynasty, big ass floppy antenna on the fucking top, doodling, you know what I mean, just flopping around up there. And so my sister on occasion and I we would go, and like we'd go out to eat at Denny's with the parents, whatever. And while they're inside drinking their coffee and smoking their cigarettes, we would be out in the car on the CB radio talking to truckers passing by.
Did they were they respectful when they realized they were children, or were they a whole bunch of four-letter words?
A lot of times is, hey, where y'all at? We'll come to you.
Yikes.
Yeah.
People are crazy and nasty and gross.
Hmm. I mean, at the time I was probably shit, I was a 10 or 11, so my sister would have been 13, 14, 15, that age.
Mm,
And they just ate that shit up, man. Oof.
that's nuts.
Fucking world is full of people that need to have the bubonic plague.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying. I could bring it back on the low just for one person.
Yeah. I mean, it still exists. It's not been eradicated.
That's right. As COVID was kind of weaning off and then picking back up. There was a couple cases of the bubonic plague in California, but
Yeah.
we have the medication to take care of it. But yeah, that should still exist. It was another one was like polio had popped up or some weird crazy shit. Like really, bro? Polio?
Yeah. Yeah. Polio is not even supposed to exist in
No,
the US anymore.
no. But it still popped up.
Yeah.
Yeah, like one or two, not even two, like just one case. So it may not even be polio. It could be something completely different.
So I just read that. Okay. So if you should get the bubonic plague, right, it requires strong antibiotics, streptomycin, gentamicin, or doxycycline, right? Um, if it goes untreated, you have a 30 to 90% mortality rate. It's a pretty broad at 30 to 90%, probably closer to 90%, depending on like your existing health levels and immune system.
Economics structure is
Yeah, right, exactly.
not broke or not.
But if it's treated, if you're taking these antibiotics and you've checked yourself into a hospital, the mortality rate drops from 30 to 90% to only 10%. So even with modern day medicine and hospital care, you still have a 10% chance of dying from the plague.
Mm-hmm. Now think about that. Like back in the day when they were dealing with it, they were like bloodletting and trying to do different kind of things like that because they thought it was the way to go.
Yeah.
Oh, he had a leg, stab him in the stomach and just let all the bad blood leak out.
Yeah. And one of my favorite memes is like a old timey doctor and an old timey patient, and like the doctor's talking to the patient and comes back with a diagnosis. Is like, oh, it looks like you got ghosts in your blood. You should do coke about it. Because that was a thing, right? Like coke was also used medicinally. So you got ghosts in your blood. You should do coke about it. Like what the fuck?
Like they just had no clue.
They
Like
were just trying whatever, trial and error, right? That's why they call medicine a practice.
yeah, practice
Um,
playoffs.
you talking about practice? Um, so there's fewer than 1,000 cases per year. I don't know if that's in the U.S. or worldwide for the bubonic plague, by the way. But yeah, what is it saying? When somebody sneezes and saying like "God bless you" or "bless you," right? Or
Mhm.
Gesundheit, which is like to your health in German. People say Gesundheit or Gudentheit or whatever the fuck, however people butcher it. Gesundheit. Um, so that is supposed to come from that time frame because one of the symptoms was sneezing, and it was like you were it was thought that you were sneezing out parts of your soul and like you were going to die because you had the plague. And so people would just like bless you. It was like, oh, you had chew, I'll bless you. Like because you're gonna die soon.
You ain't gonna make it, bro.
Yeah, you're on your way out.
Just like we were, a few years ago at the grocery store. You coughing and you got a mask. You ain't got no mask on. You're gonna die.
Yeah. But
See you
no,
later.
but that's the thing, right? So when COVID was at its highest, rampant, uh you see video of it, right? People out in public not wearing a mask and a mob on these people just being absolute dicks. Whereas in the 1400s or the 14th century, this is 1300s, people were not doing that. They were, oh fuck, man, you're probably gonna die. I mean, stay away, but like bless you. You know what I'm saying? Like they were more polite back then.
Yeah. Good
We're
luck.
fuck, we're fucking animals now.
Yeah. It is what it is, though. Only the strong survive.
Yeah. Um, Ring Around the Rosie
Okay. Pocket full of posies. What about it?
is, if I'm not mistaken, also comes from that time. You think about it, like Ring Around the Rosie, right? So if you had a red mark that had a ring around it, that was like a skin lesion. Pockets full of posies. I don't remember what posies were supposed to be, but it was supposed to mask the smell of death.
Flowers.
Sure. Um, Ashes, ashes, which from ash to ash, dust to dust, right? We all
Mhm.
fall down. We all die.
I never really thought about the lyrics.
Yeah, nobody does.
It's totally fucked up. We're singing an apocalyptic hymn as little kids.
Yeah, it's I mean, and that could be myth, that could be lore, but I just remember hearing that. Let's see here. I'm actually looking it up right now. Um,
So, there's also a good chance that, the plague was spread by, people playing all those kind of games back then, like um extra hardcore like blood sport type shit. Because weren't they doing that back then? Like with the fucking jousting?
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like the Coliseum, Rome. Well, that's just a different time where they're doing, different kind of things. But like imagine living back then and that was the shit to do. Like, let's go fucking watch Jim fight this fucking lion. Hopefully he pulls through. But I got five on the line. That
Five
was
on the line.
that was the shit back then. Instead of watching football, we would go and watch Sam uh with a full set of fucking armor, charge full speed at another guy with a stick to knock him off. They watch that shit. They're like, fuck yeah. Shit, yeah, man. What are you doing tonight? Friday night? Oh man, let's go to the joust.
Yeah, let's go to the tournaments are in town.
Yeah.
Let's go see the games.
Yeah. Wild times. Imagine the
So
contracts back then. You get paid a ton of money to be like a gladiator, similar to, you know, what athletes make now, right?
yeah, they
In
get paid.
scale. Yeah.
Are we talking about gladiators?
We're all over the place. I'm all over the place.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I was over here trying to read something else, but no, it reminds me of that show Spartacus.
Hmm.
I mean, they were slaves, but they like the better you did, the better you were treated as a slave. You were allowed more liberties while being a slave. It was really interesting.
Yeah.
It's a good TV show.
Is it still on? No,
No,
it's
hell
all.
no. It's way done. It's way done.
The actors had passed from cancer or something like that, right?
Yeah, from the first season. Yeah,
Yeah.
they got a new guy. I don't like the guy that replaced him was just not he no, he was not it. He didn't look like a Spartacus to me.
I don't think they should replace people who pass away in real life in shows.
I
You know,
mean, the story wasn't done. Actually, they probably could have ended it there because, by the end of the first season, spoiler alert, you know, he's more or less free or whatever. But
but they
man,
could
I
have
really,
changed the story. Oh, he's dead, so we'll kill him off, and then we'll do something else in the show, like like what they did with the Wakanda Forever.
passed the torch.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, not really pass the torch. Well, yeah, pass the torch, but not like bring back another person and say, "Hey, this is now T'Challa."
yeah,
Yeah,
like
that would.
like they're doing with The Witcher. And not that Henry Cavill's dead, but like they're just replacing him with Liam Hemsworth.
Yeah, no, no, throw it away. Throw it outside and
Yeah,
set it on fire, and then step on it because it. Why make a brand new show? Do something completely different because you're going to try to fill in those shoes and it ain't going to work, bro. I
yeah.
I predict that show will do two seasons and then it'll be done.
The Witcher.
Hmm.
I think
Maybe two.
so. Just like the new Game of Thrones spinoff,
Hmm.
House of Dragon, whatever. It's garbage. Have you watched it?
No, we were boycotting Game of Thrones because the end of the last series was trash.
Yeah, they did a study on that one.
Yeah,
Um, but no, so the spinoff show, from what I understand, has been canceled. Like one season, and they were like, it's not doing good.
I thought it was doing great.
I feel like I read that the other day, like a couple weeks ago.
Oh no, I'm fairly sure it's going to continue
Oh,
because they have to compete with like Lord of the Rings series over there on Amazon or whatever the fuck. All these big ass costly series. you know.
No, I didn't know that was a thing, but it won't compete.
No.
It won't. Um, the Vikings show, they came out with another one, a spinoff, which goes towards, my understanding is the Vikings Valhalla takes place a couple hundred years into the future. So towards the end of the Viking age, going into 1066 AD.
Mhm.
Um, I watched a little bit of it. It wasn't good either.
Hmm.
Like the dudes are just they they made them a little too jacked, right? A little too ripped, a little too shredded. And that's just not, that can't be historically accurate for where they lived. Um, to me anyway.
But that's not Hollywood.
I know. I know. Well, I mean, even the first series where they had Ragnar and Rollo and all of his sons and Queen Oslog, who is played by Alyssa Sutherland.
Mhm.
Um, and then the what was her name? Lagertha, played by Catherine Winnick, and Ragnar's sons. I can't remember all of them, but Ivar the Boneless. So what's really interesting about that show is all of those people existed, but not at the same time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Ragnar. Actually, they don't even know if Ragnar actually really existed. There's just stories of them, sagas about Ragnar.
Yeah. But we can
Um,
just throw them all together and then make all kind of crazy stories.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, it's fun. I get it, but you know, I I just once want like, because I mean, like the true history of some of this stuff is exciting enough. Like, why Ragnar and Rollo were not brothers in real life? Why make them brothers in the TV show? What's the point?
Mhm.
The story's cool enough as it is.
Sure. But, you know, they could be better if they were brothers. And then they had a love triangle somehow.
They did,
Reason they did.
kind of. Yeah,
Ta-da.
yeah.
I could
Well,
write
the
fucking fiction.
yeah, it was a weird thing. Lots of betrayal and blood and stuff. Good times. Hey, I was reminded earlier when we were talking about something of that comet that's supposed to pass through pretty soon. Have you-
Yeah, that's right. It's like the size of a box truck, not very big. Not supposed to. If it did hit anything, it wouldn't cause any real damage, but still, it's one of the biggest strikes in recent times, right?
Well, no,
If
it's not gonna
if
hit
it
Earth.
was hit.
Yeah. I think if it did, it would be significant. It's large enough, I think. I don't remember the exact size of it, but it's supposed to, its closest approach to Earth is the first, February 1st, so a couple days. It'll be about 26 million miles from Earth, or like 42 million kilometers, which is pretty close in terms of space. It's really neat though. Like, hasn't been around for like 50,000 years and was only discovered last year. And so it's going to be in the night sky. You'll be able to see it in the dawn hours, so like before sunrise. Um, and what was it, on February 10th? It'll be nearest Mars. There's an app though, really badass app, called, I'm gonna look it up because I can't remember always. Star Walk. If you look up the app Star Walk,
Mhm.
it uses augmented reality kind of. So wherever you point your phone, right, is what you see in the night sky,
Yeah.
right? And so you can even point it at the ground and see what the southern hemisphere sky looks like. And so you'd be able to point it at different constellations and be able to see what those constellations are. You can even zoom in to individual stars and be like, oh, what is this star? What's it named? So you can find all the planets. You can see where the International Space Station is, and you can follow its orbit around Earth.
Mhm.
Um, so if you get that app, Star Walk, you can find out where Mars is, and then, which, if you don't know what Mars looks like in the night sky, it's the only red, non-blinking bright light in the sky.
Yeah.
Um, stars blink.
That's not a star. That's a planet, folks. There you go.
Yeah, stars blink and shimmer, and planets do not. And that's just because the gases in between us and the stars and blah blah blah. Anyway, so look for the red, non-blinking light in the sky. Orange is red. And then apparently the comet will be near it on February 10th. So pretty neat.
Yes,
I'm
it's cool.
probably going to completely forget about it.
You're gonna. I completely forgot about it. I knew it was coming up because I was like, this is kind of significant. The way we're knocking comics, comets out of the sky with rockets and shit.
Oh,
Technology. I'm thinking some shit was gonna happen, and they're testing it out now because some shit's gonna happen, and they gotta have some kind of plan just in case. It's coming now.
I think we mentioned it on a couple episodes back, but for them to be able to have enough time to prepare for an impact of something, we would have to catch it as it's entering the Kuiper belt, which is the belt that surrounds our entire solar system.
Mm-hmm.
So way the fuck out there, right?
Yeah.
So we'd have to see it then and be able to track its trajectory to Earth and be like, oh shit, this is happening.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we don't even see things until after they've passed us.
I heard about that kind of stuff. Imagine that, man. That's fucking crazy.
Like there was one that passed last year, I believe, that was close enough to Earth that I apparently could have. If I could be making this up, but I think it could have been in between the moon and Earth. Like that's how close it was.
Mm.
And we're just out here blind.
Yeah. But
Wild.
what are you gonna do though? Like, if something really big is coming, you can't do anything about it. You just fucking on for the ride, man.
Yeah. I mean, watch that movie. Don't look up.
Mm. I haven't seen that. I heard it was like,
No, it's good because have you seen Idiocracy?
yes, that was an awesome movie.
Yeah, it's about it's along the same lines. It's about how dumb the American fucking public, or not the American public, but like the global population, and how media likes to cover shit up and like put on a happy face, and like how everyone is just so willing to accept what they hear when these professionals are saying. It's a lot like, when they talk about climate change. Oh, climate change is bullshit. Blah 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a fucking scientist. I'm not a doctor of any kind. I'm not a fucking astrophysicist. I'm not Bill Nye the Science Guy. I'm not Neil deGrasse Tyson. There are these people who study this and have studied it for years, and they have their opinions on it based on their observations and facts and all that stuff. So it's their job to tell me these things. I can do my own research, but you have to have a little bit of trust in the science community.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, when they see things like, hey, there's an asteroid or a comet or meteor or whatever the fuck, an alien, uh, fucking horde of alien spaceships coming to planet Earth to kill us all, might want to listen.
Or they're just here to claim it with their alien flag when they stick it in the ground.
Exactly. Galactic Europeans,
Hell yeah.
interstellar Europeans.
And on that note,
On that note, right there,
say,
we tend to get doom and gloom sometimes. You know what we talked about? Whenever we do shows together, it's sometimes it's doom and gloom. Well, there's always a little bit of doom and gloom, and there's always a little bit of space, and there's always a little bit of conspiracy theories.
just slightly.
Yeah, and
We don't really get into
comics.
space so much though, do we? I mean, this is I mean, we've spoken about it, but
We
I
do
think and the question was like, is there life out there or something like that? I think
on
that's okay. Yeah, that was
on craziest space.
yeah. Oh, yeah. God damn, that was like fucking a couple shows ago.
Yeah,
Jesus.
yeah. I'm gonna link it on this one, so if people want to watch it, they can click the link and go back to it on YouTube.
Yes.
Which people need to subscribe to more. We only have 23 fucking followers on there. We need like 1,000 or 10,000
We
or
need
more.
all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Tell your friends, tell your family,
Tell your
subscribe.
grandma.
Shit. I'll come get you.
Tell Gam Gam to subscribe.
All right.
It's important.
Word. So let's close this show out.
Let's
This
do it.
this this particular episode is brought to you by fucking depression because my team lost. Nah. I'm I don't know, man. I'm really down about it, but I'm like trying not to be down about it. The only thing that's positive is it's time for Dodger baseball. Yay.
I was gonna say there's always next year, but we might get hit by an asteroid.
Yeah.
So
Well, that was it. That was the best chance, I guess. Huh? Damn it. We lost. We suck again.
yeah, fuck. I
Thanks.
guess so now the 49ers are out, who are you going for?
Mm. Did the Bengals win? I haven't kept up with that game at all.
No. Nope.
The Chiefs won?
Yeah, 23-20.
Fuck. All right. So I'd rather see the oh god.
I'm gonna
The
go Eagles.
The Eagles played dirty. So it was a little fucked up to watch that game. And I'm not a massive Chiefs fan because they beat us in the Super Bowl a couple years ago. Um fuck man.
I'm gonna go Eagles.
I I think Eagles have the advantage. They beat us. I mean the Niners, and they're a great team, but circumstances. I don't really think that the Chiefs have a chance there.
Yeah.
I think we would I think the 49ers would have demolished them, but what can you do with fourth string quarterbacks bouncing their head off the ground violent? Fuck, it's crazy. You see that?
No.
Nah, man. Yeah, he bounces his head off the ground like a fucking volleyball spike.
No, I was at the gym, setting a new PR for my squat.
Which is
370.
congratulations.
Yeah, I shouldn't have, honestly, because I'm only 2 weeks in this program.
Mm-hmm.
But when I did an assessment a couple weeks ago, my squat was only 300, and I had a thought the other day. I was like, I wonder if my because I did squat and deadlift. I was like, I wonder if my numbers were so low because I hadn't been specifically squatting with a barbell or deadlifting with a barbell. And so I gave myself a couple weeks to kind of get back into the groove, and then I reassessed.
Mm-hmm.
My squat actually went up 70 pounds. My previous PR was 365. Um, so I can actually squat more now than I could the last time I was doing strength training, which is good. And my deadlift, um, uh, my deadlift, my max ever, my PR ever is 455, and I think I'm at like 415 right now, so it's a little low. It's lower, but that's fine. I'll get back into it. It's all good.
In there lifting heavy ass shit for fun.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I tell you what, those last like 4 or 5 reps, because I was doing one by ones, and then I would add 5 pounds on my
Mm-hmm.
squats. And those last like 4 or 5, I was dreading it. I was like, I do not want to get under this bar. It's fucking heavy. Like the barbell, the 45-pound bar is like bending, you know what I mean? The weight's like whenever you come up and it's like flopping,
Oh yeah,
you know what I
yeah,
mean?
flex.
You gotta like the amount of compression that's happening on the spine. Oh, it's got to be it's got to be traumatic to the body, I'd imagine. But
There are other ways to get strong though. You don't have to necessarily lift a half a ton and compress your spine like you just said.
uh,
There's other ways,
no,
right?
there's really not.
There's no other way to get muscles besides lifting weights.
No, you absolutely have to do resistance training to gain muscle. Yeah,
I think there's a little oil that people shoot into their arms that make them have big, nasty fucking
no.
muscles.
So even if you do steroids, you still have to eat a proper diet and lift heavy. You still have to follow the same protocols. The only addition to that normal programming of eating right, sleeping right, and lifting right is you're injecting steroids.
So you're telling me
Yeah.
that if I was to inject steroids and not work out,
You'll get fat.
what?
Yeah. You'll get
That's
fat. You'll have gynecomastia. You'll gain titties.
that's not what the cartoon said. Apparently, as soon as you stick yourself in the ass with a needle, you get six pack abs.
Right.
That's all I want.
Nah, man. That's not how that works. Nope, not at all. Just like in Popeye, man, where you chug a can of fucking spinach and you got a tank in your bicep. It's not a thing.
Oh yeah, it's a thing.
No,
It's
man.
a thing. That's why you can't just buy spinach anywhere. It's outlawed in several countries as tank arms.
Yeah. Specifically Popeye spinach.
Yes.
Because of tank arms. It'd be a little Sherman just rolling around in your biceps. Like,
And the community can't deal with it.
nope, can't deal
They're like, we got to ban this shit right now.
with it.
We need action.
No, you definitely have to lift. You definitely have to lift to build muscle, but you don't have to lift heavy if you want to gain muscle. Honestly, you really don't. Like if you want to gain muscle size, you just got to work at hypertrophy. So it's just like whatever, I don't know, 55 to 65% of your one rep max. That's it.
Mm-mm.
I mean, just and then watch your rep range. Like there's science to it, but it's really not that difficult. It really isn't that difficult to figure out at all.
Yeah.
You
And,
want to lose weight, be in a deficit. You want to fucking get big, fucking work out hypertrophy. You want to get stronger, do strength training. You want to show your abs and show off your muscle, do endurance training. There's no such thing as toning. That's a fucking
lipo,
myth.
liposuction.
Or lipo. Yeah, pay a surgeon $12,000 to suck the fat out of your fucking abdomen and put it in your ass.
Hell yeah. BBL.
Man, when I see those fucking chicks on social media, fucking in the gym, like they're like doing squats with like a 45-pound bar with like 10 pounds on either side, but they got this like fucking fat ass and no quads, no hamstrings. Who are you lying to?
I
Stop
get
it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. 100%. Like the legs don't match.
They don't match.
The
Nope.
legs don't match. That is the fucking most gross shit on planet Earth to me is the fucking BBLs.
Yeah.
It's
It don't
fucking
look
why?
right.
Why? Yeah, it don't look right at all. Like
No.
people, I think if you do it, like, is there like some kind of limit? Like, can't you be like, oh, I'm not gonna go like the full fucking 1,000% until my skin is like,
Yeah.
just a little bit, just add a little bit if you're gonna do that instead of fucking, that's
Yeah.
insane.
No, I totally understand. I mean, for some, right? So maybe they have negative ass, right? Maybe they're like a frog standing up on his hind legs,
Yeah.
just no ass at all. And maybe I can understand injecting a little bit of fat, right? But like there are tons of examples on social media of these women who were the same way, no ass, and they just went in there and they ate. They
Mm-hmm.
were in a caloric surplus. They ate and they lifted heavy and they grew their own fucking butt cheeks. Shit's insane and it's absolutely fucking possible, man. You want to
But
know?
but
You want
you
to know what like a solid? Let me think here. What is her name? Danny Spiegel, I think she's a CrossFitter. She's a very thick woman, but she's like extremely strong and extremely athletic. She
mm-hmm.
can move like I said, she does CrossFit and like all that bullshit, like the running and the jumping and the swimming and the fucking lifting heavy. But like you look at her and she is fucking solid. Like she's a a beefcake of a woman. Do you know what I mean? But like when you look at her legs, right, the size of her quads, the size of her hamstrings, and the size of her ass, like they match. They make sense. They're proportional, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
you can't grow your glutes and
Without
not
anything else.
without growing it. It's literally not possible. So I
Yeah.
don't know who these women think they're fooling, but they're doing it because you can go on there and you can see these accounts and they got like over 1 million followers. Like for what? For
So you
what?
can look like you have an alien ass.
This shit is fucking gross, dude.
Yeah. So now can we end this one?
Uh, yeah.
We're
And
at
on that note,
yeah. On that note, you can close it out.
yeah. So on that note, thanks for listening to Tyree and I rant about whatever the fuck and give you the good news about the future upcoming shows.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for being with us and having those of you who've been with us since the beginning. We greatly appreciate it, and we do have stuff coming up for you all. And I guess the big takeaway of this show is something might hit Earth, and BBLs are gross.
Yeah, totally.
Fucking, that's it. Peace out. Cue the music.